What's up everyone, how's it going? Simon here from CD Revival once again. Today I'm going to rank the albums of the band Danzig, fronted by the man Glenn Danzig, the evil Elvis, Fonzig, whatever you want to call him. He was in a couple of bands before then. He was in the Misfits, famously covered by Metallica. It's pretty much, you know, them. And also the band Samhain. The story goes that he was performing for the band Samhain, with the band Samhain, and Rick Rubin kind of saw him and was like, "Hey man, I want to produce your album," blah 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 blah, along those lines, paraphrasing obviously. And that was that. So he signed to Def American and recorded the first 4 albums alongside Rick Rubin. He did some really good albums, and then he decided, hey, I want to go industrial, and you know, was not so good, and then kind of lost a few fans, and then decided to do a couple of half decent albums again, and you know, that's pretty much the story of Danzig, which we will now go into in album form. So ranking them from least favourite, well, worst really, to best. So the bad ones are pretty bad and the good ones are outstanding. So yeah, we'll go with that. I haven't got all of these on CD either. I've got like 6 of the 10. I'm not doing the 2 covers albums he's done, so Skellingtons and also Danzig Sings Elvis I'm not going to include in the ranking, because Simon doesn't do cover albums in his ranking unless it's a ranking of cover albums. So sorry if you're disappointed with that, but they'd be pretty low down, so you know, spoiler alert. But yeah, number 10, I've got predictably Black Acid Devil, the 5th studio album. Don't own this one, came out in 1996. My scientific ranking for this one is a 2.7. And yeah, this is the aforementioned "Oh, I'm going to go industrial" album. He'd obviously listened to, you know, the Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails, and it has got that kind of vibe, but you know, he's different, like, you know, Trent Reznor. I love 9 Inch Nails, got all their albums, we'll do a ranking on them. He's an absolute genius. Glenn Danzig, I'm not saying he's not a genius, but he's a different kind of genius. And it didn't really work, and I remember when, like, my brother got it back in the day when it first came out, and obviously the first 4 albums were amazing, which we'll get to later. And this one, yeah, it was like, whoa, new Danzig album, what the hell. Yeah, kind of. I haven't listened to it since, you know, since it came out in like 1996. Did revisit it obviously for the sake of this ranking, and you know, is it really as bad as I remember it? Probably not as bad as I remember it, because I remember just being kind of disgusted by it. But it's still not great. It's like, you know, it's not good. Jerry Cantrell did some of the guitars on 3 tracks. You got Joey Castillo on drums, who did a lot of drumming for Danzig after the original lineup, and Josh Lazy on bass, who did a few albums with him as well. The couple of tracks which I've written down, which are Okay, or See All You Were, and Sacrifice, probably my favourite 2 standouts, and I have forced myself to listen to it a few times over the last few days, and yeah, definitely 10th place all day long. Least favourite Danzig album, Black Acid Devil from 1996. Number 9, I've got Blackland Crown, which I also don't own. That's his 10th studio album, like, it's not including the covers. So that came out in 2017. I scored that at 3.27. Tommy Victor on guitars, who was a feature of the most recent Danzig albums. Not quite as prominent on this one as a couple of the others. If you like his guitar style, you know what he's all about. You know, pinch harmonics all day long. But, you know, great guitarist, do enjoy his work with Prong as well. So he does guitar and bass. Danzig also does the bass on this album. There's got 5 different drummers. Not awful. Production's okay. Glenn's voice is weird. It's hard to put your finger on it really. It just sounds different. His voice sounds very different nowadays. Well, 2017, so we're going back 5 years ago. But yeah, it certainly hasn't got the power that it once had. He's kind of, yeah, I don't know, can't put my finger on it, but his voice doesn't sound brilliant. But a Nightmare's easily, I think, the best track on here. And I've got Eyes Ripping Fire as another standout track on here. But it's not awful. It's nothing, you know, it's way better than Black Acid Devil, but it's just a bit bland for me. It doesn't really. It is the album of theirs that I've listened to the least. I will say that. So, so it may grow over time, but to be honest with you, I've got no massive desire to like listen to it a bunch more times anyway. So yeah, it's a bit forgettable. Not really the best. So that's 9th place, Blackland Crown from 2017. This most recent one, apart from his Elvis debacle. But anyway, number 8. We have got this one, which I do own, 666 Satan's Child. And this one is like the follow-on, basically. So it's the one after Black Acid Devil. It has got a similar kind of sound to it, but not quite. It's more, yeah, it's you know, there's more songs, if you like. It is a better album. 1999, this one came out. It's obviously a 6th studio album. This one I scored a 3.29. Josh Lazy on bass, Joey Castillo on drums, and Jeff Chambers does the guitars. The best tracks on here: Five Finger Crawl, Unspeakable, and Cult Without a Name. Satan's Child's not a bad track either. It's got some ladies on the back. It's an alright. It's once again way better than Black Acid Devil, but it's still got that industrial feel to it. And it's, you know, it's not like amazing really, to be honest with you. It's okay. It's, you know, got some good riffs on there, but the songs themselves aren't fantastic in my opinion. So yeah, Satan's Child, number 8, and that is from 1999. Yeah, it's a 6th studio album. My number 7 album is this one, I Lucifer, 7th studio album. I say it's a little bit more metal than the other one's quite you know, it's rocking. It's got some heavy guitars on it. This one's a bit more sort of traditional metal, still with quite a bit of industrial influence on it, but you know, it's starting to sort of peter out. This one came out in 2002. This is to say 7th one. I scored this a 3.46, very precise. And it's okay. It's, you know, it's a bit better once again than the you know, the previous ones. Wicked Pussycat is the single. That's quite a good track. The title track's pretty decent, I Lucifer, and I've got Naked Witch as another decent one as well. Joey Castillo on drums as well. Again, Howie Pyro on bass and Todd Youth on guitar. Yeah, it's, you know, nothing to write home about. It's okay. You wouldn't pick it as, you know, your favourite album, or maybe you would. I certainly wouldn't. But yeah, quite a few tracks on here, but you know, nothing that's gonna blow your socks off. It's not terrific. It's okay. The next one I've got is number 6, is which I don't own as well, Circle of Snakes, which is 8th studio album from 2004. Scored this a 3.5. Some really good ones on this. Is the first one with Tommy Victor, and he is in full effects on this album. You can tell it's him straight away, basically. So yeah, some good guitar work, some good chuggy riffs, lots of pinch harmonics. Like, it's just insane. It has got Joey Montano on bass and Bevan Davis on drums. Skin Carver is a really good one. The title track's really good. 1,000 Devil's Reign. So pretty much the sort of first half of the album's really front loaded with like good, like actually really good songs. It does peter off towards the end. So yeah, not quite so good all the way through, but you know, it's a definite, you know, improvement on previous albums, previous sort of 3 albums. I say Tommy Victor is his, you know, current guitarist as well, and yeah, does a decent job. The next one I have got at number 5 is 2010's Death Red Sabaoth. His 9th studio album. Once again, I don't own this one, but I would like to actually. It's one I need to get. Score this one a 3.68. Tommy Victor on guitars and bass again, Johnny Kelly on drums. Strong album. By far his best since the classic lineup, in my opinion. Really good. Really good album. Definitely more back to his traditional sound. The Revengeful is like a superb track, probably one of his best that he's done for a long time. On a Wicked Night's a really good one. Night Star Hell. It's got that traditional Danzig, if you know like Danzig and you know his first, best albums. It's got that real similar vibe to it. Not a bad production either. It's yeah, it's decent. It's a really good album. Well worth checking out if you're kind of lost interest in Danzig, many years ago, which very easy to do. But yeah, Death Red Sabbath is a superb album from 2010, ninth studio album, and well worth a listen. So now we're going to the top 4, and they're all stunners basically. If he'd have carried on doing albums of the top 4 quality, he would have been like pretty much one of the best artists ever. And so number 4 I've got for me is the weakest of the 4, and that's the first album. So just simply titled Danzig, 1988. That one came out. I scored this a 3.75. Deaf American, obviously produced by Rick Rubin. Hey Man, I'll produce your album. And yeah, some classic tracks on this one. Twisted Cane, obviously, is great. It's got Mother, the classic track. She Rides is really good. Soul on Fire is an excellent one as well. They're probably the standouts. Not of This World's really cool as well. And My Demon. It's got the cover of The Hunter on there as well. But yeah, first album on Deaf American, like really like classic Rubin production, really like really stripped back. Sounds good, everything you can hear. So yeah, excellent album. Number 4 in my ranking, the first album from Danzig in 1988. Number 3, I have got Danzig IV, or 4P as it's sometimes known. This is the original one, so it's got the gatefold. Later ones came out in a like digipack, not digipack, this is the digipack. Later ones came out in the jewel case, but this is the original one. This one's an absolutely amazing album. It's a little bit different to the first 3, so it's got a bit more of that sort of industrial, experimental, I suppose you'd call it, sort of creeping in with tracks like Sadistical and Can't Speak, which are probably my 2 least favourite ones on here. But it has got some corkers. So it came out in 1994. It's got the classic lineup, obviously, of Eerie Von, John Christ and Chuck Biscuits. Brand New God, great track to start off with. Little Whip's brilliant. When You Call in the Dark, it's amazing. Going Down to Die, superb. Son of the Morning Star, Stalker Song. Just a lot of classic stuff on here. And yeah, just a superb album. Some people don't like it as much as the first 3, but I think it's it's just got a lot of different, he's changed the style slightly on that one as well. So yeah, well worth checking out. Danzig 4 or 4P, even the sticker says 4P. Right, so that's at number 4, 3.83. I scored that one just in case I missed out saying that. My number 2 album is Danzig III, How the Gods Kill. H.R. Geiger cover. Came out in 1992, obviously his 3rd album. Scored this one a solid 4. And yeah, this one is amazing. Fantastic production on this one. Produced by Danzig himself, executive producer Rubin, so it's got that real, Rubin-esque sound. Godless is a really good track to start off with, changes like tempo a few times. Anything, I think, is a brilliant track on here. How the Gods Killed, this whole track is superb. Bodies, I'm not such a massive fan of. Dirty Black Summer was the single, excellent. Left Hand Black, Heart of the Devil. Sistinus is a slower one, which I'm not, once again, is one of the weaker ones. Do You Wear the Mark and When the Dying Calls. I've just pretty much listed all the tracks there. But yeah, absolute stunner. yeah, listen to this. The difference between the early albums and the latter albums is just chalk and cheese, because the early ones are so good. And this one, no exception, like my number 2. And you know, that's doing it a disservice because it is so good. So 1992's Danzig III, How the Gods Kill. A stunning album, really good. So that just leaves one as my number 1, obviously. And that is Danzig II, Lucifuge. The back cover's the original front cover, if that makes any sense, but that's what it originally was. That's the inside. 1990, this one came out. The production's stunning, the album's stunning. There's just so many like amazing tracks on here. A Long Way Back from Hell, brilliant opener. Snakes of Christ is a 5 out of 5 track for me. Killer Wolf, 5 out of 5 track for me, just really bluesy and dark. Tired of Being Alive is a good one. I'm the One's a bit of an oddity, bit of a, not a ballady one, but I don't know what you call it really, but probably one of my least favourite ones on here. Her Black Wings is a 5 out of 5 track. Devil's Plaything, pretty much also the same. 777's a strange one. It's got like a slide guitar, changes tempo, pretty dark. Blood and Tears, not overly keen on. Girl, stunning track once again, 5 out of 5 track. Pain in the World, really do me one to finish off. Scored this one a 4.18, which is, you know, if it only wasn't for those a couple of tracks which are not so great, then you know it would be one of my highest ranking albums ever. The pinnacle of Danzig's career as far as I'm concerned. The production, the songs, just everything about it is absolutely superb, so can't praise this album highly enough. Get it if you've not heard it, check it out, get it. It's a classic metal album, and that's my number 1, comfortably my number 1 as well, even though the number 2 and 3 and 4 are all really strong albums. So yeah, that is the Danzig ranking, and I hope you enjoyed it. See if you agree with my choices. Like, put your own list in the comments below. I expect there'll be a few differences. I know a lot of people hold the first album in like very strong regard, and rightly so. But for me, it's just a bit more basic than the other 3 that I put above it. But still, you know, it is a great album, obviously with some classic tracks on there. So yeah, that's that. That's my ranking. So thanks very much for watching, I appreciate that, and if you could like and subscribe, help the channel grow, that would also be superb. And I'll keep banging out the videos. I think I've got my final Alice in Chains album now, so I've got all of those now, so I'll do the Alice in Chains ranking next, and then probably like Def Leppard after that, and then go through like the random Ds that I've got, which is a fair few, so that'll be the next few videos. So press the bell icon, you'll be notified when I do another video, and you all have a great weekend. Take it steady. Thanks very much. Bye bye.